channel. My name is Kathy and I am with Healthy Ambitions. Today we are going to make a keto creme brulee. Y'all, creme brulee has probably been my favorite dessert since I was a little girl. I would going out to eat at a fancy restaurant. So few restaurants actually serve creme brulee. And so on the rare occasion we were at a restaurant that served it, I always got it and it was the most amazing treat. Well, I just learned how to make it at home and it's so much easier than I thought it would have been. I've been very shy, I've been very hesitant to make creme brulee because you gotta cook it in a water bath and of course you gotta blowtorch the top of it, and it seemed really intimidating. And I'm gonna show you that it's not intimidating at all. And in fact, my recipe is even going to be a little bit easier than most of the recipes that you see online, because we're not even going to cook up the custard first. We're just going to mix everything up and put it straight into the ramekins that will go into the oven. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Maybe we'll do a lemon creme brulee later on. But today is just going to be the basic creme brulee. Let's show you those ingredients. This base creme brulee recipe only requires 5 ingredients. You're going to have 4 egg yolks, so we will be separating these eggs, 2 cups of heavy cream, about a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and we're going to use 2 different sweeteners. For the custard part, I'm going to use allulose. I actually prefer to use the powdered buckwheat, but I'm out, and allulose is the next best option, even more so than powdered swerve or powdered monk fruit, because both of those have a tendency to recrystallize and you don't want crystals in your custard. But for the top, you do want to crystallize that sugar, and so for the top coating we are going to use swerve granular. Alright guys, that's all the ingredients. I do need to get some water boiling. You do need boiling water for the water bath that it's going to bake in. So we're going to get this started and then start making the custard. Okay, we have the boiling water ready. I'm going to set this to the side while we make up our custard. Now the first thing you want to do is to separate the eggs, and I just get 2 bowls and crack it open, and then I just kind of put the egg back and forth one side to the other as the whites pour out, and then I save the yolk. Now you will have 4 egg whites left over, and there is plenty that you can do with egg whites. You can make meringue cookies, and in fact I do have a chocolate meringue cookie recipe on my channel. I will link it up here so you can go check that out. They're super yummy, very lightweight, yummy cookie, and a perfect thing to use your leftover whites for. Now to mix this up, since I'm not actually heating the custard mix on the stove top first, I'm gonna mix everything up into this mixing or this measuring cup that has a pour spout, because that'll make it really easy to pour it into the ramekins once it's ready. So we're going to start with 2 cups of heavy cream, and this actually, again, it's a measuring cup, so I'm going to measure it right in here. 2 cups of heavy cream, 4 egg yolks, half a cup of allulose, and again, I prefer powdered buckwheat. I do not recommend an erythritol based sweetener, whether it's a monk fruit blend or swerve, because it will recrystallize. It's just not great for custards or puddings and that kind of stuff. And then just about a teaspoon of vanilla extract, maybe 2 teaspoons. I'm just going to whisk all this up. Now another option you have is to throw all this into a blender and then pulse it until it's well mixed. That would also work well, and the blender would still be pretty easy to pour out of as well. Okay, so that's ready. Now I have a baking dish, just a high side baking dish that I'm placing these 4 ramekins in. You need the baking dish with the higher side, because once the custard is in the ramekins, I'm going to pour the boiling hot water into the baking dish to surround the ramekins, about halfway up the ramekins. This needs to be in a water base, a water bath for the baking, and the reason is so that you don't develop a crust on the bottom of your custard. That way the custard stays nice and smooth. Some people spray their ramekins before they pour the custard in, but since this is not just the baking dish, but also the serving dish, I don't really see a need to spray the ramekins, and so I don't. So I'm gonna pour this mix evenly between the 4 ramekins. And it should go about halfway up, I think. Each one, maybe a little bit higher, depending on your ramekin size. Oops, almost. A little bit higher in each one. Oop, almost. Okay, we'll call that good. Now I'm going to take, again, this boiling hot water and just pour it into the baking dish about halfway up the ramekins. And that is it. Let's take a closer look. Ooh, it's steamy because it's hot. Let's take a closer look real quick. So there you can see, again, it is boiling piping hot water, so I need to be very careful as I put this into the oven. So you're gonna bake this in the oven at 320 degrees Fahrenheit for anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes, almost said seconds, 45 to 60 minutes. I'm gonna start checking it at 45 minutes and I'll give it just a little jiggle. So the custard, I don't want it firm, right? The custard needs to be set with only a slight jiggle and that's when it's ready to come out. So I'm gonna let this bake and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, this is still a little too jiggly. I want to see if I could get in here and show you. Like, just jiggle a little bit. It's a little too jiggly in the middle. It's still very liquidy, and so they're not quite ready, so I'm gonna go for another 10 minutes. All right, these just came out of the oven. They are looking great. I have allowed them to cool a little bit in the water bath because I didn't want to burn my hands or try to get them out while they're too hot. The first time I made these, I tried to just use some pot holders to gently get them out of the water and I dropped one and spilled it everywhere. So this time I waited, but now they are cool enough. I'm going to take them out of the bath and just set them out on a cooling rack. Once they've cooled down to room temperature, I'm going to put them in the fridge to chill for 1 hour and then we'll come back and we will do the crystallized sugar on top. All right, these just came out of the fridge. They've been in there for an hour. And this is my favorite part. This is when we add the sweetener on top and we crystallize it with our little culinary blowtorch. So for each one, about half a tablespoon of Swerve granular on the top. And just, it doesn't have to be exact. You just want a nice even coating on top. And I'll bring you in for a closer look here in just a second. And once that's on, then you will turn on your, oops. So I'm gonna turn on. There we go. Turn on the blowtorch and lightly just go across the top of it. The sweetener will melt, it will liquefy, and as soon as it does that, then you're gonna let it sit for a few minutes while it recrystallizes, and it is absolutely amazing. Ooh, you get a little smoky too. All right, let me bring you in for a closer look so you can get a good view of what that looks like. So once that's done, as soon as you initially take the blowtorch off, it's going to be just a liquid sugar. So you want to give it about 5 minutes, maybe even, excuse me, maybe even closer to 10 minutes to let it harden again. So you get that hard top. Let me see if you can hear can you hear that? I'm not sure if it's picked up in the video or not. wait for it to harden and cool, and then you serve it, and it's amazing. And honestly, as soon as I realized how easy creme brulee is to make at home, I knew I was in trouble, because now I want to make it all the time. It is my favorite dessert. All right, guys, thank you so much. That is all I have for you today. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you on the next video.